Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk all things reality TV or whatever.
Oh.
I'm your host, Pharaoh. I'm joined by our wonderful co-host, Lee. Lee, how you doing?
I've been doing good. I mean, we were in the correct timeline. Thank you, God.
Thank you, Lord.
Mother Hale is the reigning champion of Big Brother 24. It's beautiful to see. We have a new mother of CBS. She walked away with the title, the crown, the money, the check, the man. Oh, God. The Lay's sponsorship. Oh, God. She's so booked / busy. Like, I'm just so happy for her. I have never been this happy for a Big Brother winner. I have never just been this gagged. Like, this has been... I'm still riding on the high. Like, I don't think anything negative can happen. Like, I'm good. Mother just won. God is good. The birds are chirping. The grass is green. My pussy is fat. Like, it's going good.
Y'all, Lee is a whole stand-up comedian. But as you see, so we have just ended the season of Big Brother 24. We got Mother as the winner. Mother Taylor has won.
I love hearing it.
So that means what we're going to do today is we're going to just give our overall opinion on the season real quick, and then we're going to go through and do our last final player ratings and rate these players overall now that the season has completed or whatever, period. Shit.
Let's hop up on
it. Yeah, let's hop right up into it. Hop up on it.
I mean, like, it's just like the roller coaster this season has been. Like, I mean, because we went back, we posted about our Mistreatment to the Hell video today, and I went back and watched it, and like, I had forgot some of the bullshit that was said. And then I think what pisses me off even more is that these bitches is not getting dragged. And like, the thing is, we don't have access to drag them because most of them, the comments is off, the Twitter is gone. And it's just like, I think these bitches deserve to get dragged just a little bit. And the thing is, I feel like it feels so redeemable because Mother has won. But I'm still a little bit pissed. I really am. And the fact that they are hanging around her as if they didn't trash this bitch the whole season. Like, oh, not bitch. You didn't trash this queen the whole season. Mother the whole season. It's just like, I just feel like, I don't like that energy. But, you know, I feel like Mother has her man. And she's really not worried about it.
And she has her check. And she has her sponsorship.
And I feel like that kind of makes me feel good about it. Because it's like, they're nobody. They didn't win shit. They didn't get anything. They didn't get anything. So it's really great. It is.
Great. And now they got to sit there and suck her ass all day. Y'all saw how Indy was all up on that girl ass.
Girl,
baby.
Indy want the clout so bad, girl.
We have your receipts.
Mind you. I saw a video. It's basically all the flops hanging out in LA. It's Terrence.
I know who they are.
Cat, Monty, Pooch was there, bitch. It was Nicole, Daniel. They all hanging out. Girl, why Indy in TikToks with the cookout, bitch?
Girl, she want to be cool so bad.
It's giving groupie down, though.
She want to be a groupie so bad.
It's giving Christy Valdesari, bitch. The girl who wanted to get up and play. Very embarrassing, child. And like, girl, sit down. Like, and to me, it really just gives fake. Like, I feel like you can't see that as anything else but phony.
As fuck.
And the thing is, I don't want to discount it too much because we don't know the personal conversations. I just doubt that she really sat up there because how much do you even know that you said for real? You know what I mean? Yeah. I just feel like Mother is so apologetic and she's so queen, so
kind.
You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm mad, but I can't be that mad. You know what I mean? Like, because we got where we wanted at the end of the day.
Sure. That's the thing. Overall, the season it was a lot of ups and downs, but now that it's over and Mother won. It's giving. It was only ups. Like I don't know. Like Mother won.
Like, and that's the thing. Like when you look at the grand scope of this season is Taylor Hale. Like I've never seen a more dominant personality within a game of season of Big Brother.
She's the face of the season.
She's literally the face of the season.
Y'all know how Survivor does with 6 people? It would just be her.
Literally. She is like, she is Immaculata. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's so crazy. And the fact that she walked away with all of it.
All of it. Drown in it.
It's what Tiffany deserved. I don't want to get into it.
Oh God, it literally is what Tiffany deserved. But hey, listen. Girl.
What?
Girl, hold on. Give me 1 second. You good? Keep talking.
So yeah, I just feel like that really upsets me. But I do feel like overall, like especially with the way it ended, this I can't debate. Like this, I think this is definitely the best season of balls. I don't know what to tell y'all.
I don't know what to tell you.
Like it's BB23, like and BB24. I don't know. Like they battling because you got the iconic Black Alliance, the top 6, literally the final 6 in the house, the only alliance of all time to make it take all of their members to the end, and then you have the first Black winner.
Like I don't know what to tell y'all.
Oh my God, like it's hard. It's definitely them too, and it's just like I'm just so happy that we get to enjoy the season in this way. Like
y'all know what's fucking crazy? Y'all know what the fuck is crazy? All season, we've had these pictures of the bums at the bottom and Taylor at the top, and I can't believe Mother One, y'all. Like it was us.
We're a prophet. We're a prophecy.
It was literally us. We had Taylor at the top with the crown, at
because
the top
we
with
knew.
we knew. Her mind. This is crazy, y'all. Like I literally saw it and I was like, oh shit. We predicted.
Look at all the X's.
Look at all the X's. The X's.
And they want me. And you go.
Y'all, honestly, the season was good because Mother won. Had Mother not won, it's funny because had Mother not won, I would have been like, this is the worst season ever. Fuck this season.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like the result really does create the overall opinion on the season for me, at least for me. Like,
yeah, I feel like
I don't know.
I was just gonna agree with that. Like, I feel like for me, it's all about the endings. Like, the endings really do it for me. And like, I just feel like
I'm sorry, go. I'm drunk.
And I'm just like, there's a lot about talking about representing the season when crowning the winner. And like, I just feel like Taylor really is the best representation for this season. Like, I've been saying it this whole time. When you think Big Brother 24, you think Taylor. And now she won it all.
Period.
So you have definitely
no choice. You have to think Taylor. She's AFP. She's the winner. Like I said, she's the face. If they ever make a DVD, it's just gonna be Taylor Hell with her winner.
She's literally gonna be everywhere. Like there is no stopping her after this point.
Period. She's literally Mother. Girl. What else is there? I love how we haven't talked about anybody else on this season because they don't matter. There's really nothing much else to say. This is the hashtag that season. Because Taylor won. I will say, like, if BB23, if there was a different winner, like if Tiffany had won BB23, I probably would have been like, ooh, it's BB23 or this one. But I mean, we got the winner. That like this is hashtag the season. Period.
Yeah.
Final. Period. Point blank. Honestly, I'm done. I don't have nothing else to say about it other than that Taylor's Mother. Like that's all that mattered. No?
Did you see how Monty he been in his little postseason press? He's just like, I feel like I done the work to be considered the best player. If the jury feels a different way, then Taylor. Girl, I saw that today in one of his little speeches, one of his little interviews. He's like, if Taylor was able to convince the jury and whoop de whoop de whoop, and it's like, girl, the jury was decided at the round table. They didn't want to vote your big black ass then.
Not big.
They definitely wasn't gonna do it at the motherfucking speeches because your shit was
because your speeches was trash.
Like that's the thing. It's like you was literally speaking next to Miss Michigan. Like your questions, you did not answer them correctly
or good.
You was up there saying anything. My biggest regret is not taking out Michael and Brittany because I just felt like this sounded like stupid. Like not saying shit, not saying nothing
at all. The fuck, girl, we moving along. Y'all, honestly, we finna just get right into these motherfucking player ratings. So this is what we're gonna do. Let me pull it up because, child, stay with me now. Okay, so this is what we have. At the top, we have our average ratings. After we've rated them throughout the season, I went ahead and averaged them out, and that is their average of me and Lee's scores combined. Below, we will have the overall final player rating that we decide on today or whatever. So let's go ahead and get this started or whatever.
Paloma.
With Paloma ugly ass.
So with Paloma, she left, what is that, on a 6 average? I feel like I think I'm gonna bring it down a bit because a lot of her strategy was on the basis of getting out the winner. Like, you're a dummy. It's a 5 for me. I do feel like it's really hard to ignore the control this girl had over this house, though. Like, it was terrifying. She created the majority alliance without the HOH in it. She had her parachute alliance with the girls. I mean, she checked in with her alliance members. She was bringing, like, the entire house loved Paloma, and then she spiraled harder than Britney on a Friday night, child. So I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see how that would have turned out if she did not, lose her mental state. But it was pretty nasty. Like she was bossing that house around. So I think kudos to that, which is why I'm not gonna bring it too low. Mm-hmm. But seeing as though Mother won, that's the only thing I give her more credit because she knew who Mother was.
She knew who Mother was.
Like, who Mother was.
She was the first one who climbed.
No. Let's get into that real quick. Paloma knew who Mother was.
She knew who the fuck her competition was, who needed to fucking go.
Oh, it can never be competition. You can't compete when you don't compare.
Her imaginary.
She had thought, you still her mentally, she's not all the way there because she thought that she would be competition. Because as we all know, from the twist in week 1, Taylor would have put that ass in that competition regardless.
With that being said, I literally agree on Paloma. Fake ass. She's getting a 5. I think I just want to bring her down a little bit because, like Lee said, she came from Mother, and you will never come from Mother. But honestly, just genuinely thinking back, it's like she was eating it up, but she was also going crazy. So that's a 5. That's it. We're not gonna spend too much time on her. Poochie, poop.
Poochie man.
This man. Girl, his average is 2.88, and it's giving a 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
I mean, I'm thinking back to when he was in the game. It was so interesting because we kept talking about this. I remember in those early weeks, like, Pooch and Paloma's game were really tied to each other. And I thought once Paloma had quit, that Pooch may kind of arise to be some, strong figure in the game. But then he wanted to nominate himself next to Mother. So it's like,
what were you thinking?
I just feel like, and it was very obvious that he wanted to come in and be that guy. Like he was mentioning liking Dr. Will and claiming to be a super fan. And it's like, you wanted to come and give stunts and shows. You showed out your ass right out the door. So
yeah, like literally with Pooch, it was, he had strategic like senses, but honestly, like that's the thing. Like, did he?
It's embarrassing because every strategic thing he did was snitched on and ratted out within that first week. Like nothing he did was anything specific. I mean, he made a great. He was literally like Brent. Like it's like he made a deal with the first chaotic weak HOH and then got out after it.
Yeah. So it's a 2. I hate to say it. I hope it doesn't relate to this. I mean, let's talk about Mother. I don't know.
No. And that's the thing. Like I said, I showed Amira a little bit of grace. A little bit. Just a sprinkle, just a peach. She wanted to get her Bugs Bunny faced ass up on that damn finale stage and try to embarrass Mother on her night. You really thought she was going to eat that up. Were you jealous? Because remember Joseph, when she got out, Joseph was going to talk about some, I can't wait to get out and have that date with you. Were you mad seeing your man had moved on to the prettier, badder bitch, the winner? Amira, it's giving jealousy. Jealousy. But, honestly, Amira as a player, she was really interesting. I, too, would like to see how that would have kind of continued in the game. If she literally had worked with Taylor to any type of capacity, really brought her in. I feel like she felt like she knew she needed to, but she kept just wanting to use her. And that was her downfall. I think jealousy really got into the way because those women, a lot of them could never break down that wall to actually utilize and work with Taylor. Those guys got to it first and they really did well and got far with it. So it's really just disappointing on her factor. I think I'm gonna give her a 5. Yeah, I mean, it really was just a quick rise and fall. Week 1, she was the highest rated player for us. And then she went home week 3. And Cheryl mentioned it was a lot to do with a twist, which also does suck on her behalf. I'm not going to lie. A bold statement. If Taylor didn't win, I mean, I definitely could have seen, if Amira had worked through that twist, she could have fucked around and did something because she had a lot of influence. So,
yeah, I actually really liked Amira's game. I think she was pretty decent at strategy. I think she was also good at positioning. Like, I think usually she did position herself like second in command quotations. And I think that helped because even in the situation where she was in, Nicole was the one who was talked about by the boys as being the one they really wanted out, then Amira. But because of the twist, like Lee said, like I said, like it just ended up having to be Amira because Nicole was tied to Taylor and they needed Taylor's vote. And like just because of that, it just makes me feel like Amira's low key that girl. Because if that dumbass twist didn't exist, Nicole would have went home that week, and then Daniel would have went home next. And honestly, it's not a given that Amira would have went home right after them. Like, it's really not a given. Like, and I feel like that's an indicator of the fact that she was low key that girl. And she got fucked by a twist a little bit. I do think she's one of the better strategists this season, and even socially, she's one of the better ones this season too.
And that's going home third,
and even physically, she was probably one of the better ones because she got second in 2 of the competitions she's played. So it's like, honestly, I feel like if Amira, like let's say Amira was dropped in another season, I think she could really do really good. Like I think this was like circumstantial. She was playing against Mother, so there was only so much she could do. So I'll give her a 6. I do think even though she got out, and that's crazy. She got out third, but we just have so much evidence of the fact that she was low-key eating it up. I'm not gonna lie. And she went home by a very narrow vote. Like, it wasn't very narrow because somebody flipped. But a lot of people wanted her to stay because even Terrence, he voted with them, but he wanted her to stay. So it's like, hey, next we have Cop Cole, Stop Cole, Dumbass Cole, Ugly Cole.
Oh my God. I mean,
no thoughts, actually.
It was terribly. Like, do you remember how week 1, her and Daniel thought they had a secret final 2 and everyone knew about it? The entire house knew that everything that was told to either one of them went to the other person. Like, they were not secretive at all. They had no good read on the house. I'm speaking on they because their game was really constantly linked to each other. Like, they did nothing without each other. It was pretty embarrassing, very insecure, if you ask me. I just feel like Nicole's really showed no redeemable qualities. She's trying her hardest to apologize and be nice to Taylor. But, you didn't show any of that in the house when you were calling her a fucking whore and saying she was sliding her pussy around. Even if she was sliding her pussy around, it looks better than your pussy, bitch. So anyways, I don't know. I just did not like Nicole at all this season. Like, she didn't do anything well for me. I think she showed promise when she got brought into Pose Pack, but then because of her own problematic and weird and explosive actions, she really got sent home because of that. So it's going to be a 2. Very aggressive action. So it's going to be a 2 for me.
I support it too. That. One thing, usually I like somebody who can gain followers, and boy, did she gain followers out of Daniel and Terrence. The way they would do anything that this woman want, and I really don't understand why. So I'll give her that. But all that is 1 extra point. So it's a 2 for me too. I do feel like that a lot of her aggressiveness, a lot of her, I guess, police tendencies, maybe this is what she learned in the police academy, really influenced her to just be very, very angry in the house. She was very reactive in the house. She was also very insecure. And I feel like those are all things that are not going to get you far in this game. It seems like every time she's played, she's going to get mad at her alliance, and she's going to be aggressive towards her alliance. She's going to yell at Monty, and she's going to assume Taylor's talking about her. She's going to jump on all of these bandwagons.
And then you remember randomly she was like, Alyssa said something in front of Indy that Indy didn't even catch. And she was like, you just exposed me in front of her. I just seen anybody in this house. This is a 40-year-old woman, y'all.
It doesn't give stable. Like, I can't give her a rating.
And then, like, that's my thing. Like, Paloma was in here, Nicole was in here. Like, these people passed the psych evaluation. Like, what's the psych evaluation?
No way! His Daniel shouldn't have passed either.
Yeah, no.
He's literally insane. Okay, Daniel.
They should have did a background check on Daniel.
Dirty Teeth Daniel. Pedophile Daniel. I didn't even say that. Y'all didn't even hear that. We have Daniel. Daniel, other than liking little girls, he does tend to not be a good game player. Week 1, he didn't make any alliances. He didn't make any alliances week 1. He did not do anything with his HOH. He was not liked by anybody in the house. He thought he was liked by a lot of people in the house. Everyone knew his alliance with Nicole, which was his only alliance. He didn't think anybody knew about it. When Nicole got invited to alliances, Daniel didn't even get invited, and they knew they were a pair. That's how crazy. That's how bad Daniel is. They knew Nicole would tell Daniel everything, and they were still like, you know what? I mean, we're just gonna invite Nicole. Like, I don't know. Like, she'll just tell him, oh well. Like, they don't like you, and they still don't like you, and you're dirty, and you're ugly. So like it's gonna be a 0.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna stand by that. Honestly,
he won't win. He will never win.
He was very, and that's the thing, and it's because of his personality. Like, these people's personality is just so nasty and disgusting. Like, he was very insecure at his big ass age, and it was evident. I mean, the way he literally got into it with Nicole because he felt like Nicole was sharing with other people. Like, you treat me like every girlfriend I've had, like every friend I've had. You just use me and you throw me away.
You had a girlfriend?
Why are you having an emotional breakdown within the Big Brother house?
Have you had a girlfriend?
Some girl he probably paid. Yeah. Definitely, with his weird affinity to young women.
It could be $400. That's the $400 he had in his bank account.
I like literally walking around talking about stuff. Oh yeah, as a friend, I just have to be a protector. I have to protect people. Paloma, she's my friend. Paloma does not know you.
He needs to protect them teeth from damage.
Literally. So yeah,
yellowing.
It's a 0 for Miss Daniel. She was nothing
but the hair.
She was definitely nothing but stunts and shows the entire season. Her biggest moment.
God damn.
His biggest moment is literally trashing the winner. Like, you're embarrassing, babe. Like, that's embarrassing.
In many ways.
Like, that's your biggest moment. Giving Taylor her life spousalship. You like, thanks. I don't know. Anyways.
I don't know. Next, we have Indy
Santos.
Nothing. Indy do nothing Santos. Indy follow Taylor Santos. Indy want to be cool Santos.
You know what? And then on a game level with Indy, I felt like there was slight promise because there were things that she would clock here and there. Like, I know, like, she clocked that, like, she really couldn't trust the girl. She did feel like she was being used. That's why she tried to make a relationship with Monty and Joseph. But she started putting her emotions way too into the game. And she's a Pisces. I'm a Pisces, so I can definitely see why she put her emotions on her sleeves like that. She also is a friend of Big Brother Brazil, and she's known nothing about Big Brother US. So she was in there playing Big Brother Brazil, which is basically all emotion, all drama, all this other shit. While the girls are literally playing the game. Like, so I think she just got out of the game situation, and that's why she ended up going home. But one thing about Indy, she's a prophet, okay? Because she said, if Taylor does not go home, she is going to get me out, and she is going to win the game. Taylor did not go home. Indy did go home by Taylor's hand, and Taylor did win the game. So... honestly, I'm gonna have to give her a 2 for being a prophet. I mean,
I don't know.
She clearly can see into the future.
So, if you can gaze into the future,
you might have to be a dream.
Life is a travel of the distance. Yeah.
Go Indy.
No, it's not that easy.
Speaking of Raven, Jasmine looked like a Raven.
No, she does not. Hey now. Wanna break down? Yeah, I wanna ride with the. Okay, Indy is getting a 0.5 for me. I don't know why she was casted. She quite literally did nothing but half of what Daniel did, and that's why she gets 0.5. Yeah, it's no. Next, Jasmine. No, what I will say about Jasmine is that when it comes to the game, I low-key think Jasmine was like maybe top 6 in this cast. Like, the cast had a lot of bad players. Jasmine was not that bad. I don't know what to tell y'all. When it came to like socially, I don't think socially she's like likable, but I do think like when it comes to social in the Big Brother game, like being strategically socially, I think she did do a good job with that because even though she's very unlikable, a lot of the people did have ties to Jasmine. Amira had a close tie to Jasmine. Alyssa had a very close tie to Jasmine. Nicole had kind of a close tie to Jasmine whenever Nicole tried to start making that stuff. She had close ties here and there, and I feel like those things did help her game. I also feel like when it came to like deciding on strategy, whenever she chose to strategize, she did do a good job. She was also good at like, I guess, talking to people because every conversation Jasmine had, people felt good about her in it. And I like even watching, I felt like, ooh, low key, like she would have ate me up. If I was talking to her, I would have felt good about her because she was very good at conversing in a manner in which that person would feel comfortable with them. So I really did like that about her. But when it's like there was like a layer missing, like you could tell she wasn't a fan because there was like a layer of like if Jasmine was actually a fan of this game, I think Jasmine could have actually been like a relevant player in the game. But that thing really held her back, and that's why I got to give her. Honestly, I'm gonna give her a 4.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give her a 4, and that's just because of that disconnect. But
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about a 4 or 4.5. I feel like Jasmine just like socially, like you said, like she did pretty well with that. It's just I feel like, especially judging off of the game she played here, once the leftovers was formed, she was pretty much obsolete as well as the rest of the girls, you know what I mean? Because she couldn't really play off more of that. I did like in situations where, like, Michael's weak, they were like, let's make this plan to formulate and get out Monty. If they weren't as well as the leftovers, if, a week earlier, maybe this is something that could have worked. But,
and Michael Loki should have did it. So Loki.
No shade. But so I do feel like she definitely had some pretty positive attributes. But the problem with Jasmine is that she was never truthfully brought into anything, and that's the issue. But no one really saw her as someone that they really, really necessarily wanted to work with and solidify with anything, other than the girls, which was a fake second alliance. To be honest, it was a parachute to the pose pack. So, I think it's gonna be a 4 for me as well. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I think she kind of plays this kind of game. If she were to play again, if she was dropped into another season, like this type of game, she'll probably play. I think it probably does get her further in other seasons, but respect, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not. And I will say, what I will say about Jasmine is when it comes to like people inviting her in, I do think that's kind of like a weird assumption that she can't help them in the game. She can't win a comp. And Jasmine is the only other woman other than the winner to win an HOH this season. So I do feel like that's fucked up, that I feel like a lot of people didn't find value in her. Like even when they were creating Post-Pack, Paloma was very close to Jasmine, more close to Jasmine than Amira at the beginning. And she was like, let's have Amira instead of Jasmine. And it's like, why? Because you think Jasmine can't win the comp? Be fucking real. You take Paloma is just every negative word in the book, that's Paloma. Like, Anyways, we have Daddy Joseph. How you feel about Daddy Joseph, other than the fact that he's daddy?
I like Joseph. I'm not gonna lie, child. In the earlier weeks, I was scared because he was coming in, and we know he, isn't the hugest fan. So he was coming in kind of like, oh, I want to change the name of Big Brother, and I'm not here to lie. I'm not here to, I want to be loyal to a group. It was just giving. Ooh, it was. I just did not like it because I just knew, like, you're not gonna get far on that mindset. This is a cutthroat ass game. You know what I mean? In those earlier weeks, he was up under Pooch a little bit too in the Oasis Alliance, and he was kind of just going along with the house with the bashing of Taylor. And it was like, everyone was being weird that first week, so it just felt like he's going to be someone that could just potentially be a follower. But then he turned 25 and he became a man. And he was really instrumental. I think a lot of people do leave him out, but he was very instrumental in creating the Leftovers Alliance. The part of why Taylor felt so comfortable joining is work that he did put in. Information that Brittany had told him. He had formed a relationship with Brittany, and she was comfortable coming into this now. So he did a lot of good work in reassuring and things like that. I do just felt like where Joseph kind of steered a little bit wrong is that he started focus. I feel like I do think there's such thing as over gaming, and I feel like he's so desperately wanted to just kind of just keep going with these scenarios, and maybe we can do this, and maybe we could try to do this. And it's like I felt like he was too set on kind of getting a lot of these things done. Like the Fomance, like I don't think it hurt their game, but it didn't help it either. I do think he was doing great work playing both sides, but then you have a negative attribute in that he's so loyal. Which is something that he did still want to stay loyal to, being a loyal person to a group. He'd come back and tell the alliance members, and it's like, you don't have to tell them everything. So those things just threw me off. It does suck because I don't think he would have got his placement if it wasn't for that twist. Literally, he definitely got twist screwed, like for real. And he would not have gotten out if the house didn't split that way. And we don't know what Joseph's past could have been because he was set up good socially. A lot of people did like him. And I do feel like out of Monty, and like he someone else could have, I feel like, definitely been targeted over him. So I just feel like it's hard. I think it's really hard because like I don't know, because I just don't know how the loyalty game that he's playing will work out because I can see a lot of situations of people kind of just getting that whatever because their entire game. You know what I mean? He was very open about everything. So I think for me it's going to be a 5.5 just because I feel like I would hope he would come in. Like I would love to see Joseph come back, and I would just hope people come in with a more cutthroat attitude. Like I don't care about this alliance. Like these are the people I'm going to work with, but like I'm not going to come back and tell them everything. If I'm playing the other side, they don't have to know all of that information. Like I feel like even and that would work even with the scheming and the plans. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't have to be so open about everything. Because I do think socially he was really at the top of this house until they split and he got out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I very much so do agree. I feel like I agree with all you said. I do feel like with Joseph, it's like he doesn't stop sometimes, and I feel like that's a very big problem in Big Brother. One of the reasons Monty was able to make it to Final Two was because Monty had moments where he was just chilling and he was just letting the game go. Because once you set yourself up, you don't have to continue to go and go and go. Joseph had himself set up 3 weeks before his eviction, and instead of just sitting there for those 3 weeks, he was going and going and going, and it made Brittany and Michael be like, we're going to literally put in active work to target Joseph because he kept going and going and going. And like Lee said, telling them his game and being so loyal to his alliance. If he would have set himself up with India Jasmine and didn't say nothing, it's very likely that Monty would have been the person that Michael was like, Monty needs to go. And instead of picking Monty for his team, he could have picked Joseph for his team. Monty's on the other side. Now Monty goes home in Joseph's place. And I feel like that's because Joseph just did not know when he needed to chill and when he needed to turn it on. Because even at the beginning, when he was chilling, he didn't need to be chilling. He was in a very terrible position.
Yeah.
So it's like when he decided to chill, it was horrible. And when he decided to go and go, it was very horrible. And I feel like all of those things are just mistakes that I feel like are, I don't know. I think they're fixable, but those are mistakes that made me like kind of feel a little bit lower on his game. But in general, the fact that he was actively playing is just so positive. That always can help.
Yeah.
Because like Lee said, if the twist didn't happen, he still probably wouldn't have went home where he went. I feel like the fact that he didn't win no comps though is kind of a thing for me. I don't care about competition wins when it comes to like determining a winner, but getting further in the game, you low key gotta win a comp. You gotta win.
But that's
like
but that's why I was like, who knows though? He could have won a few. I think Monty won most of his in the end game.
That's true. That is true. So we really don't know. We also don't know like how he was determining whether he was gonna win or not, like if he was throwing or not. So that's true. But I'm gonna just give him a 5. Moving 5. Next we have
KK Kyle,
Klansman.
And we said this a lot of times throughout the podcast, and it's so hilarious how racists jump in the comments and will literally say Kyle's a great player and he didn't do anything wrong and and it's like, okay, the first part was right. You know, Kyle can be seen as a great player, but he's still racist. I don't know what to tell you. Like no one is doubting that he was playing a good game at some points. It's just his downfall was seeing all the people of color and thinking they were going to be in an alliance together. He was making moves to actively go against something that wasn't there, which actively ruined his relationships. We've talked about this before. He was the closest person to Monty. Him and Monty has been in the most alliances together. They made very pivotal moves in the game together. And that's an alliance that he chose to drop along with Joseph because he felt like all of the people of color were working together. Like you literally are making up things that's not there. You're delusional. You're not living in real life. And it's like you can't really respect that. I do think what was interesting about his game, because he did have a very important role in getting the leftovers created. You know what I mean? He had the connection to Michael and Brittany fully. By proxy, he had Taylor. And then he was kind of in the central because he also had the pound. Monty was closest to him. Joseph and Turner also liked him a lot. So he was really set up well in that structure. And even while actively tearing down that structure, he was able to build a new structure to where he was still on top of and in the center of it, really in a good position. If Michael didn't expose him for being a literal racist, Kyle would have still been in the game. And like with Joseph, who knows what would have happened because Kyle had even proved that he can win competitions. It really sucks though, because it just shows the microcosm of America. Like a male who has all of these racial biases and all of these, very, very problematic opinions and thoughts can be very successful. Like I mentioned, like he essentially had to get canceled just to get out of the house. And even then, he still had people supporting him. In the real world, he still has people supporting him. I just think if we're thinking strategically as a player, I'm going to put it at a... That's the thing. With the delusion alone, I think I have to bring it down to a 4. Okay. I'm going to have to bring it down to a 4. Well, you know what? 4.5. So I just feel like I said, it was impressive that even while tearing these things down, he was able to build new things and get in a good position in them. It was based on so much delusion that ended up getting him out of the game. So you know what? It's a 4. It got him out of the game. Like like So it's a 4. The thing is, like, Kyle really would have fared well 16 through 20, 16 through 21. He really missed this mark.
Yeah, he got casted a little too late. I agree with what you said. Honestly, I do feel like Kyle has good tendencies as a player. I feel like one important thing in Big Brother that a lot of loyal players lack, like overly loyal players lack, is the decision to pivot. I feel like the great players, they know when they need to pivot and then they actively do that. And that's what Kyle did initially with the leftovers. I think that was a great pivot and he centered himself in that alliance. However, quickly, there's a thin line between knowing when to pivot and being paranoid. And I think Kyle got very extremely paranoid. And I feel like the longer he was in the house, the more paranoid he got. And players who tend to be like that tend to always lose. Like if Kyle has the tendency to become paranoid the longer he's in the game, that's not good because even when he was nervous about his position in Paloma's pack, he didn't actually have to be nervous about his position in Paloma's pack, in my opinion. I feel like, honestly, if they didn't pivot from Paloma pack, I think Kyle could have made it a little farther. Honestly, if he just stuck with Paloma's pack from the beginning, because he wasn't even in a bad position in Paloma's pack. He had a final 2 with Michael, and he had essentially a final 2 with Monty, and all of the girls low-key had a preference for Kyle at that moment, especially Alyssa. And then every time Alyssa would talk to people in Paloma's pack, she would talk positively about Kyle, and they would agree. So it's like he wasn't necessarily in a bad position, anyways. And all of the girls outside of the lines always like Kyle. So whenever he did pivot to the leftovers, honestly, I'm not sure if that was even like the most wonderful decision, but him doing it, he put himself in the center of the game. So it was very, very impressive. But the reason he did it was paranoia. Because once he got in it, he didn't even know he was in the center of the game. So that's how you know it was from paranoia, because once he got in the leftovers, he thought Monty was running the leftovers. Very quickly, he thought Monty and Joseph were running it, and I have no say. That was like the next week after the leftovers was created, literally. And if that's the case, that means that when he made it, he didn't even make it knowing he was in the center. He made it paranoid about Paloma's back. And I feel like that shows an indicator of him not being fully aware. And everything else he did after that showed that he was never fully aware of his position in the game. And knowing your position is so important in Big Brother. I do feel like he has good tendencies. He's able to grab people and pull them in, and make alliances with them. But honestly, a lot of that came from the fact that he was white and they were comfortable with him. In my opinion, I feel like a lot of the times he was able to pivot, other than the initial time with the leftovers. It was because he was white. Like Michael and Brittany felt comfortable with him because he was white. And because he was gravitating towards the white people. Turner felt comfortable with him because of that. I feel like it was a lot of, I don't know, but he did do active work. I'm gonna give him a 4 also. There's that. Next we have Terrence. Terrence literally did nothing. Other than being literally colorist, misogynist, and weird. He did nothing else. I do feel like Terrence had honestly, and this is what I like about the BIPOC rule. I'm not saying this because he's black. However, I do feel like there's a slight street smarts, and Indy kind of had this too. There's a slight street smarts to like the POC recruits that we've had so far, versus in the past when we've gotten white recruits. I do feel like Terrence had like just a natural sense of survival, and I feel like that natural sense was shown in the game here and there when he would kind of gravitate towards who was in power. It's such a lame ass strategy that I don't like. However, it can work if you're being a little bit active. I don't feel like Terrence was being active enough, but he was being a little active. So, but other than that, he really didn't do much. Even though he won competitions, he didn't do much with them. He kind of did Kyle's bidding with his 2 competitions that he won. And he was willing to work with a group of people who were all together, and he was the last add-on to it. And he continuously did that, because even with the Nicole Daniel relationship, he was begging to be a third wheel. When they would make alliances, they wouldn't really include Terrence. They would just be like, oh, we also have Terrence. So all of that are just like not good traits. And that's kind of because the fact that he was not able to be as social as he should have been. Like you could say it's age, but Tiffany was the oldest woman last season and she ate it up. So at this point, you can't even say it. She done proved it wrong. So for that, I'm giving Terrence a 2.
Yeah.
A generous 2.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the generous too. He was just, I mean, he was just embarrassing the entire season. Honestly, I don't really think he did much to desire. You know what I mean? I think one of the qualities is that he is someone that, like you mentioned, he has that natural survival effect. He's going to do what he can to stay in the game. You know, he's going to play his angles that he can play. You know, he's going to lie. He's going to say he's with you and not with you. That those things were kind of interesting. That gameplay can be annoying to watch, but it is also fun to see because it's like just straight up cutthroat. But I feel like he was doing it to the wrong people. I mean, someone like Taylor, who has, genuinely wanted to work with this man from the beginning because they've had very important conversations about race and the cookout and what it means and how they only apply because of that. He threw that shit in her face the entire season. He tried to get her voted out next to Nicole. He tried to get her voted out next to a literal racist. He's walking around her calling her a bitch and all this other ass weird shit. And it's like, that's someone else who I feel like honestly let that cloud his game. I mean, he was only bonding with people on hating Taylor when she was no longer the class clown that everyone could pick on. All of a sudden, he really had no real connections in the game. He had Daniel and Nicole left. That's why he tried so hard to keep them, and he put in no work to do so. I mean, literally the week of Daniel going home, he had the bright idea to throw the veto to keep them on the block to get out Monty and Joseph. Nigga, y'all didn't have the votes for that shit. You would have went home. You're a dummy. You're literally a dummy. And he had learned that until Dire Fest when Kyle told him about the leftovers. He was like, so that week I threw the veto, I would have went home. And it's like, yeah. Honestly, yeah, it's a 1. No, change that. Yeah, no, it's a 1. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. And then it really pissed me off because every single time he felt like he needed Taylor, he would go to her and use race. He would be like, like even towards the end, he was getting evicted. Oh, let's do the family reunion. We gotta stick together. We can get to the end. Why the fuck would she want to stick to you when she know you've been trashing her behind her back? That is just so fucking disgusting that he would even put that into the game like that to try and get this girl vote. It's just like, you're weird. You're so weird.
Literally.
And he turned the fucking comments off today. That show's gonna get in his ass.
Period. Now we have Michael. How you feel about Michael?
Michael, I really do like Michael's personality. I'm not gonna lie. I am still very upset about the whole using the race thing to try and get Kyle out. It was very weird. It's weird that they waited so long. It was very uncomfortable to watch. They literally used it as a strategy. There's no ifs, ands, or but. They used it to get Kyle out of the game, which I'm not too mad about because Kyle got out. But it's just weird because it's like you don't sit on information like that. It's not something that should have been utilized, and it also sucks because we saw strategy and where they were actively trying to get this divide to happen. So it's just like that is just it's just not good. I think Michael, what's good about his game is that people do really like him a lot. And despite having so many comp wins, it still took a while for people to be like, okay, Michael is a serious problem and Michael needs to go. But those comp wins are also his biggest downfall because it's like he was winning so many. And he mentioned preseason being very competitive. I feel like, he didn't probably account for the competitions being more equitable. Like I mentioned before, like I feel like because the competitions were easier, we have this comp beast again. Because usually when you have people winning over and over and over again, like back to back to back in this way, it was back in the older seasons where I feel like the competitions were more equitable for more people. So like I really wasn't shocked that he tied Janelle's record, but it's so hilarious that he got out right after he tied it. It's like it's really cursed. Like, nope, the max is 9. You tried
I know,
it,
right?
babe. But it's just like, it sucks because, it's hard to say, oh, he's won so many comps, so I have to bring him down. But it's like, that's literally laying out his ass out. Like, I do think if he had won less competitions, he would have been able to slide his way to the final 5. He really just, because at the end of the day, let's just break it down for real. He was never going to be seen that much of a threat. It's because he is a gay male. Gay men are not seen as threatening, especially a white gay male. So he was never going to be seen as that threatening. Even with all the comp wins, people were saying Monty and Joseph are bigger threats and they need to go, which didn't make no sense to me. So it's like, he really put it on himself. And also on top of that, I just feel like his social game really did need some work. He's really lucky that Paloma brought him into Postpac because he was able to branch out and make a relationship with Kyle, make a relationship with Monty, have something with Alyssa, have something more with the girls. You know what I mean? I guess you can kind of say that's him and his personality that helped him as well, but it really isn't a lot of active work. He also had this flea on his back sucking the life out of him the entire game. I think it was really smart of him because he had a final 2 that he could always bring with him, but it's like he was such a bigger target than her. It was just like Brittany really was not a benefit to his game as much as the time was going on. So it's just like, I don't know, I'm iffy. I'm really iffy because I don't think he's a bad player, but I saw a lot of things that I feel like other people really don't see, because I know a lot of people think very, very highly of his game, and I just don't think socially he was doing that well. I think I appreciate that he's a strategic person. He had plans. He definitely thought out exposing this man to be a racist, but also other things as well. He was always thinking about the end game, which is fun to see. So I feel like, his overall average was 6.5. I feel like a 6.5 is accurate. I feel like a 6.5 is accurate. I feel like I can't give him the 7 because I feel like he was never necessarily in the driver's seat. Like one time we saw it the most was when he started the divide between the leftovers, because that did ultimately have Joseph go home and then Kyle went home after. Like that was like the most dominant play, I feel. But at the same time, he got out soon after, and at the same, he really wasn't in the driver's seat of that. You know what I mean? It was kind of just like I feel like it was just a bomb here, a bomb here, a bomb here, like, boop, and it got destroyed. But then it's like he really couldn't build from it.
Yeah, I really agree. I agree with what Elijah said. I'm not necessarily a fan of Michael's, like, I guess, social game. And at the end of the day, this is a social experiment. I do feel like Michael had a very tough time actually, being social. When he was associated with the girls at the beginning, he was never really doing good work, in my opinion, at keeping them on his side, which is why as soon as he did turn his back, they were shadun. They didn't even care about him. When there were so many other people who voted against Amira and them, they were mainly like, Michael can go. Like they were very done with him. And I feel like that was an indication of the fact that his social game just wasn't eating it up the way he needed it to eat up. And when he won his HOH, he kind of did not treat them I feel like in a intelligent manner when it comes to the game. Like he did not bring them in enough. I feel like he barely reconciled with them. And I feel like a lot of the times when they were trying to, be nice to him or talk to him, it was because they were trying to use him to get out Monty like that week. And I feel like a lot of that is because his social game was very, very lacking. Even his relationship with Brittany was because Brittany went to him. His relationship with Kyle was because Kyle went to him. When Monty and him did develop some type of friendship, it was because Monty went to him. And he honestly took that little too far than what he needed to. And when it was time for him to make a strategic decision, he took out Terrence. And it's like, I don't know, like he has a strategic mind, but I don't know if he always makes the correct strategic decisions at all. Like his HOH was so pivotal at that point. It was top 7 and he took out Terrence. Like I just can't really get behind that because it really indicates the fact that he wasn't all the way there strategically. And I feel like that is very important in Big Brother, especially when your social game's lacking and you're such a big physical competition threat. I feel like winning comps, being able to win comps is good, but the fact that he doesn't know when to win comps is bad. I always say every part of Big Brother is strategy at the end of the day. There's a social strategy, there's a strategic strategy, and then there's a physical strategy. You can't just win every comp and then win the game. This isn't the challenge. You need to strategize when to win your comps and when not to win the comp. And I feel like that's something that Michael lacked in every sense, is that the strategy behind anything he did, the strategy behind his social game, strategy behind his strategic game, and the strategy behind his physical game were all lacking. And I feel like that's it's interesting because he's like one of the only players I've ever seen to have like kind of like a conflicting idea like this, because he did so well, but I just feel like he was lacking in a lot of places. So for that, I'll just give him a 6.
Mm-hmm. The best thing too is like, because he had such a great comp ability. I mean, he was safe in most rounds. Like no one could even try to get him out. There's no way to. And it's like, I guess you could say, oh well, he won so much, then maybe that could be a good thing. But I mean, if you would drop him into another season, like maybe the competitions are not the same. Maybe they're not that equitable. Maybe there's other people who could beat you.
It was like 3 weeks where if he would have lost, he was going home. So it's like, I don't know. Like that's not. He lost and he went home.
Yeah. I said that once he got to the point to where he has to win every competition to stay, I mean, that's not a good game. It's really not.
Next is Alyssa. Girl.
Not much to say. Not much to say at all. I don't think nothing is up there for real. Like Alyssa was just embarrassing all season because it's like, she would get told information and then she would go blab it to Kyle. She would get told in very important secrets. Like I remember Daniel when he literally figured out the entire Leftovers alliance. He dropped that information on Alyssa. She took that, ran that back to Kyle within an hour, and let him convince her that none of that is true. And it's like, Alyssa, how can you sit up there and believe him when you know he doesn't tell you anything? You've expressed that. It's like she was there for the dick and the dick only. And it's like, I'm not trying to slut shame. Like, I'm here for it. Pop your puss. Get your dick. My sister Taylor did it too. But it's like, play the game as well. My sister got that dick and won. Get that dick and won. I don't know.
Literally.
Like, do something. It's like she didn't do anything with any of the information she was given. She is the reason why the Leftovers was formed. She's the reason why Amira got out, because she leaked the information that Old School was formed. It was an alliance between Amira, Jasmine, Terrence, Daniel, Nicole, and her. Very late night random alliance that no one was serious about. She told Kyle for no reason. Well, she told him that she was trying to get his dick, and she thought telling him game information would get it. I guess it worked. I don't know. So, and that information that should ruin her entire game. I think if Kyle was actually caring about working with her and bringing her in and actually, using a showman as what it's supposed to be used as, a strategic ally, really, she could have been put into a different situation, because she is a white woman. If you drop her any random season, if you drop her in another season, maybe, she has that protection. Maybe she actually is getting brought in. You know what I mean? Things like that. So you never really know what kind of switch up that could be, because the vote could have easily been, they could have easily been like, oh, really, a Tanner's vote? We could just use Alyssa. But Kyle thought Alyssa was not down to do anything. Like if Kyle realized that Alyssa was down to do literally anything for him, like he would have been able to, it would have been a whole different story. Like the girl was down for the ride for real. And like even when she got fully exposed to the Leftovers by Kyle, it didn't seem like that registered anything at all either. It was just like, girl. And the fact that her closest ally is the one that took her out for the girl who won the game, it's just like, ooh, what is your story? She lost so many competitions, didn't win one. It was just like, very bad experience for Alyssa. She got played on national television by a racist, and then she popped her pussy for him on live feeds even after he got exposed for being a racist. And then we all know that it only lasts 10 seconds. So it's just like, Alyssa, girl, ooh, it's embarrassing all around. It's going to have to be a 1.5 for me. A 1.5.
That's very sweet. Yeah, no, honestly, just truly, she's just not good at the game at all. Like, at any aspect, it's really, really bad. The fact that she made it that far alone, and she didn't make it that far because people thought they could. It wasn't because she was a GOAT and they thought they could beat her. She just made it far just because. And
no one was worried about her.
Nobody was worried about her, but they were. That's what's pissing me off, because they kind of were, but then they were.
You're right.
And they was kind of tripping, but they wasn't. And that's why it pisses me off. I really think
after Dire Fest happened, it was like no one worried about Alyssa no more because it was so much bullshit. But they were trying to get Alyssa out, and that was the thing. Kyle protected her so much.
Her. It was very circumstantial. I do feel like a lot of the reason she made it so far is because she's a white woman and Kyle wanted to protect his white brethren. So there's that. But I just feel like she just didn't do anything. Like even at the beginning, when I was thinking that maybe she had some type of chance in this game, it was not true. I do feel like if like the Paloma world was the actual world that ended up happening,
just been Paloma's lackey.
She would have been Paloma's lapdog. But I feel like if Alyssa had, this is how I feel. If Alyssa had that person who was strategic with her, that in that world she could have been. It's weird because I remember listening to her in the jury roundtable, and every time she spoke, I was like, why is she speaking like she knows what the fuck is going on? Like the way she spoke in the jury, every time she spoke at the round table or at the jury house, it just seemed so intellectual. Like she knew
those who can't do teach.
That's that on that. I don't know. It's just weird. And I remember at the beginning when her and Paloma did have discussion, she was able to hold a strategic conversation multiple times. I think that's why I was like, how is she able to do this but be so nothing? It's so weird.
I was just gonna say, I think what it is that she's really a casual fan. Like she says, she's watched the show with her family, every day. She doesn't watch the live feed. She doesn't go past that. So I think someone who watches the show in that way can get a good grasp of a little bit of strategy. But if you don't know the backstory behind it, the connections behind that strategy, how those things work, Brittany is another person like this too. We'll get into her ass. But if you don't know all those things to make those strategies work, the work that goes into it, you're not going to know how to really do it because you're not watching the work, the strategic moves that go put into that. You know what I mean? So I just feel like that is really why it's like that. Like she can tell you what a person is supposed to do, but she can't go in there and do it.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm gonna also give her that 1.5. It's not giving anything. Next we have Brittany. Brittany's an interesting case, maybe a basket case, some may say. I do feel like that with Brittany, I love, and this is what I liked about her at the beginning. If she wasn't just so weird about Taylor specifically, I would still like her because the way she plays the game is just so, in a way, it's admirable considering her archetype. You know, like the archetype that Brittany is kind of the person who ends up on the bottom, who gets shut out, who really just does not get the chance to be strategic. And even though it's like with Brittany, she's like, usually me, I wouldn't get a chance to be strategic, but I'm gonna do it anyways. One thing about me is I'm gonna do it anyways, regardless. Like, I don't care if y'all get mad. I don't care if I'm not the person you want to talk to. I'm gonna force you to be in alliance with me. And I honestly, I like that aggression. Like, I don't know. Because at the beginning, she was like, Turner, me and you should be in the final two. What about that? Turner was like, no. She's like, damn. She was like, Pooch, I mean, I know you're the backstage captain. So let me tell you this tea about Amira. Pooch went and snitched on her. She didn't give a damn. Amira was like, did you snitch on me? She was like, honestly, I don't know why, you guys. And Amira was like, maybe I do kind of believe Brittany. Like, I love that Brittany at every step of the way, she was going to play the game whether y'all let her or not. Because honestly, they were trying to not let her, but she just kept on going and going and going. And it got to a point where eventually people were letting her play the game a little bit. And she always got caught. But I just like the fact that she tried her hardest, because honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Like, even though she was just so sloppy and horrible and not a good player, honestly, at all, I just would prefer that than the latter,
Alyssa,
which is Alyssa. And I just honestly, like, whether y'all feel it or not, I do feel like the fact what she did, even though it was sloppy, kind of did get her towards the end of the game, because a part of that sloppiness was going to Michael day 2 and saying, Michael, we should work together because we're like each other, and me, you, and Turner should get together, and let's try to make this alliance. And at first, Michael wasn't even trying to work with her like too quickly at first. But after she was being so forward and she was trying to make an alliance with Daniel, she was trying to make an alliance with Turner and him. She was like, me, you, and Turner, me, you, Turner, and Daniel, and Nicole. All of that really drawed him to, like, he had no choice but to work with her. And then she was also an easy goat. But I do feel like a lot of the shit she did, in a way, it did benefit her because Michael was one of her most beneficial things. And boom, there you go. So, I mean, hey, I'm going to give her a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to give her a 4. She won 4 vetoes.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Give her a 4.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to say a 4.5. I think I like the activeness in Brittany's game. It's just her issue is I feel like, similar to what I was saying about Alyssa, she admitted that she's a super fan of the game, but she didn't watch any live feeds. So to me, the strategy just gave very much, I'm going to go up to this person and say their strategy. And of course, they're going to want to work with me. But it's like she didn't have any social connection with these people. Like, that's why she would always get caught. Anytime she went to someone, she would get caught. Like, it was just very embarrassing. Like, it wouldn't really go that much far. And then it's crazy because, like, I think I kept mentioning she really is just this she is a certified underdog. Like, what is it? A1 underdog. Like, she is employed to this shit. Like, it's a 9 to 5 for her. I think she was that underdog, but I think she's someone, she wanted to be in that position at all times. And she felt like, she even made comments like, oh, like, the pre-jury is all my karma, and they went home because they did this to me. And it's like, even in positions where she really was not in that bottom place that she thought she was, she would put herself there, going to Michael and saying, oh, I want you to win the game, and I can't win. I feel like I liked her fight at the end a little bit, but it's just like she ruined it by being bitter and weird to Taylor. Mm-hmm. So yeah, fuck a 4.5. It's gonna be a 4 for me.
Yeah, and like,
because I was saying all the negativity, and I was saying, is there anything positive really? I think it's admirable that she got so far, and like the activeness. I will give some points to that because I do feel like for example, her going to Joseph with information in week 2 did, help her get into the leftovers in week 3 because he knew from Brittany that she was not loyal to the girls, and neither was Taylor. So that is information that was helpful to getting the whole leftovers created. So like little things like that. And like you said, going to Michael. Michael is a great ally because he kept her safe by proxy of all of his comp wins. Those are very smart decisions. You know what I mean? So it has to be a 4 for me because it's just like the issue is she just kept getting caught up, and I don't think that will work in too many seasons because there's not going to be a Michael protecting you in too many seasons.
Yeah, and what I like about Brittany is she's an example of what a lot of like analyzers of the game say. Like, being active is always a net positive, or going to be more positive than not doing anything or than not being active at all. Because I mean, Alyssa and Brittany are examples right here. Brittany still made it farther than Alyssa, regardless, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like being active is always going to get you a one up, even if it's terrible. I'm so sorry. But one thing that I really did not like about Brittany game is, which is keeping her from getting more than a 4, is the fact that she accepted the fact that she was going to lose before she was even determined to lose. I feel like walking in the game, like Lee said, she was just the A1 underdog gangster, and she just assumed the fact that she was going to be underdog. And this is the thing: however you perceive yourself is how you're going to be presented to the world. Taylor perceived herself as a winner, as a confident woman, you know, and so she ended up winning. Brittany perceived herself immediately as the type to be the underdog, the type to lose. And that's what she kept forcing herself into this whole time. Brittany was never really an underdog. She was in the girls. She was in the leftovers. She was in a decent position because she had Kyle and the White Brigade starting to form. She literally was invited into a Final Four with Monty, Taylor, herself, and Michael. She had a Final 3 with Monty, Taylor, herself. She had a Final 3 with herself, Michael, and Taylor. She had a Final 2 with Alyssa at a point. She had a Final 2 with Taylor. She was never really an underdog. Never really. She was just in the mindset of an underdog. She was pretending to be an underdog. And then she forced herself into the underdog position by playing the game she was. She was playing as if she needed to play so hard because she was an underdog, and she never really was. If she would have just sat there, she probably would have made it to Final 2. She probably would have been brought to Final 2. So I just feel like all of those things also put me down, but we'll move along to this nigga who didn't do nothing. All Turner did all season was do what men told him to do. We've said it multiple times over and over again. It's very annoying. He's the worst type of player. Like and I love this season because there's so many different types of players. Mm-hmm. We have the Terrence, we have the Brittany, we have the Alyssa. But even though Alyssa and Terrence didn't do shit barely, I hate what Turner did more than what they did. Why are you winning competitions? Why are you getting invited into alliances and playing like you're nothing? That shit pisses me off. I hate a person who's gonna win a bunch of comps and just do what other people tell them to do. That's what Caleb did in BB16. That's what in BB22 when Enzo could win comps, he was just doing what the niggas was telling him to do. Like I hate it, especially if you go do what a man telling you to do.
But and that's the annoying thing. Like all these players get far, and the thing is, they all have a chance to win if they get to Final 2, and that's annoying because it's like you're not really playing the game. You just a great soldier, like, and it's just like
that's what Christmas does, just like Christmas, and that's what I categorize Christmas as, like the soldier archetype, and there's always a soldier archetype a lot of the times, and that's what Turner is. That's what Caleb from BB16 is. It's like this soldier, like you're just gonna do what the alliance tells you to do. You're gonna play your role, yes, daddy, all the way to the end. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's what Turner is.
I think I hated the most about Turner too is because like even when like told about it, like he reacts as if he just does not care. And it's like if you do not care, then why the fuck are you here?
Why are you here? Why are you taking up a place? Why are you playing the game? You took up a Final 3 spot. Like honestly, I don't even fuck with Brittany, but that could have been Brittany trying to win, like trying to do something. You're just there. I'm gonna take Monty anyways. Why? You fucking dumbass. You're so stupid. Like and then the fact that honestly, like this might sound anti-men. Is that a thing? Girl, that's not a fucking thing. The fact that he wanted to take Monty pisses me off. Because in what world are you beating Monty for real? He wanted to take Monty over Brittany and Alyssa. He evicted Alyssa for Monty. He was going to evict Brittany for Monty. And at Final 2, he was taking Monty. Why? Like,
and Monty took Taylor.
And Monty took Taylor. Like, I will say, because of the fact that his girl, fuck all that. It's a 2. I'm not gonna lie. It's badass.
And that's the thing.
It's a 2.5. It's 2.5.
I'm gonna give him 4 for archetype. I'm not even gonna lie. At first, I was gonna like maybe a 5, but I think I'm gonna give him 4 for archetype. Like because no, but that's the thing. Like if Turner had gotten to Final 2, like I do think, especially if he had won his way there, I think that there was a little bit of precedence for him to potentially win. He had a pretty bad social game. With a few of the members of the jury, but the fact is, like, he did get really far, and I saw this path for him just looking at the type of personality he has, the ability to win comps. Like, he is someone that I feel like if you drop in a lot of seasons, he would get far, and he could potentially win, and that's scary. I'm glad we're not living in that world, but I do think he's someone that could do really well if they played again, unfortunately.
I think the issue with like archetype positives is that there's also worlds where you just go home free jury. I feel like there is a world that Turner just doesn't win the HOH 1 and goes home that week, and that's not good either because his gameplay isn't based on him playing the game is based on his personality,
Yeah.
which I feel like isn't enough. And I feel like that's also sucks because it's kind of a crutch to other people. A part of the reason that Brittany is not that good of a player is because of her personality too. And it's like, damn, that sucks because you just are the way you are. Like, it's kind of no offense, but like, well, not even no offense, but it kind of sucks because we're kind of telling Brittany, you got to go in the game and not be yourself. And it's like, oops. Like, but some people
I think
do.
Brittany
like,
could have been herself. It's just she spiraled.
Well, I think herself is spiraling. That's the issue.
If that's herself, then she just shouldn't have been cast. Another person should have passed the psych evaluation.
But hey, I don't know.
They keep letting people in here who ain't passing the psych evaluation. What's wrong?
All right. How do you feel about Monty?
Kunti, you was right. And that's the thing. The girl, I had made a tweet. I was like, around top 6, I think I said that Monty's, strategic one of the best players in the game, and I still stand by that. I was very vocal about the fact that I do not like Monty on a personal level, but I do think game wise, he was playing pretty well in the end game. He had a lot of win equity that he shot himself by taking out Taylor. I mean, he was sitting in the final 3 with 2 people who were going to take him regardless. He was able to control one of those people to take out the one person he had no connection with in the top 5. So I just think that he made a lot of good moves. He was the person who won the video to take out Michael. Like, honestly, if Monty himself wasn't a dummy and just was able to construct his speech in a better way, then maybe he really could have had a chance to get some more votes. Like, I don't know. Like, it really came down to the fact that I don't think he knew his own position in the game. And also, because of his archetype, he didn't have to play on a hard enough level, especially as someone to Taylor. A lot of the times in the game, he was just chilling. That's why in those earlier weeks, around week 4 or week 5, people are coming up to Michael and them saying, let's target Monty. Let's try to get him out of here. If it wasn't for this twist that was really keeping him very isolated because of the leftovers, it could have been a real bad issue for him. You never really know. I think it's similar to Xavier from BB23 in that way. He had people in the cookout actively keeping him safe with other alliance members. And in this situation, it was the same with Monty. He was very well insulated because of the alliance. I will say that's also a positive because he did help create the alliance. He had a lot of information that was beneficial in creating it. But in that chilling stage, he's not really building that many connections. When he slipped to the leftovers, he stopped talking to anyone outside of the leftovers. That's why he really didn't have good fare with a lot of the jury. You have Indy, you have Jasmine, you have Alyssa that you barely even talked to. You just called out Brittany the 2 weeks before. It's like y'all are telling me this is the man that needed to win the game. But when it came down to making the strategic decisions, I feel like this cast was bad in general. Like, let's just be honest. It wasn't that many, great strategic decisions. If it did, it came from a literal racist that ruined his own game, or Michael who's winning 20 competitions. Like, I think strategically, Monty had a lot of net positives. He did a lot of good moves that got him to that final 2. Literally, if he takes Turner, he wins the game. So to me, it's a 7. I have to give what his gave. I think he played a pretty good game. And like I said, if he just wasn't dumb or Mother didn't trick him, he could have won. So
yeah, no, I honestly really, really do agree. I feel like there's like a good a handful of players this season that kind of reached that caliber of like, okay, they're actually can be considered a good player. Maybe 4 or 3. And I feel like he's one of them, definitely. I feel like he had a lot of good qualities. Off rip, everyone loved him. And that was one of the reasons he got invited into Pose Pack, Paloma's alliance. Initially, is because she was like, well, everybody loves Monty, so he's going to be a good asset to our team. I feel like that's half because of archetype also, but hey, that's that. When he got into Paloma's pack, he was in a good position in Paloma's pack because he had made a final 3 with Amira, who was in it. He was very, very close to Paloma, who was in it, and he had very close relationships to Kyle. So he was in a pretty good position in the Paloma's pack. When it was time to pivot, I feel like earlier, like I said, I don't know if it was as important for Kyle to pivot because Kyle didn't even know that he was in the best position. But for Monty, I do think it was really important to pivot because Paloma had went home, and that was one of his biggest connections. And when Nicole got added, which was by him, when Nicole got added to Paloma's pack, she and Amira really took control of that alliance. I do feel like one mistake. I feel like he has a few mistakes. I feel like one of them was letting Amira go. But honestly, she was gonna have to go because he couldn't get out Nicole because of the twist. It was kind of like twist twist oriented, because if Monty had to decide, if he had the choice of anybody, he would have decided on Nicole. So I feel like I can't blame him on that. It was because of the twist. He was very important in creating the leftovers. He was a part of the like urge to get it to happen. He kept mentioning it. He did a really good job towards the end game when he did start making a relationship with Michael. He got invited into that Final Four with Brittany Taylor and Michael. He did really good work when Dyer Fest ended, and he went to Turner and Kyle and rekindled that relationship very, very easily. He was a part of the initial Pound Alliance, which created the Leftovers Alliance, and that was a part because of his strategic work. So he does a lot of good things. Even though he lost his relationships with Jasmine and Indy, the fact that he had relationships with Jasmine and Indy was more than a lot of other people in his alliance, because Turner didn't, and Michael and Brittany lost theirs also before the week before Monty did too. So it's like, even though that did happen, it's like, hey, oh well, like other people were doing worse than him. I feel like he had a lot of good qualities. I feel like he's good at those comps at the end game. So I honestly, it's like a 7. Like there are mistakes that he has. You know what? It's a 6.5. 6.5. I do want to give it the 7, but I just feel like there was too many mistakes that I mentioned. Honestly. Yeah. It really just was. I still feel like he's a better player than a lot of other people. I feel like 6.5.
I think my 7 really just comes from like the pretty dominant end game. Like I feel like, you know, he really was playing really well, like top 10 when the house split up. Like he did pretty well. But on to Mother.
You can go first.
So Taylor, like literally, like I mentioned, if you look at this entire season, like she ran this motherfucker. Like I don't give a fuck what anyone says. She dominated this entire season. Like I'm so sorry. Like the fact that she had to play on the hardest level. Night 1, she has these girls making an alliance, forming solely based on hating her. The entire house is trashing her name. We have really. I feel like I've never seen this amount of just ostracization. Like the group think was so insane. Like no, like it was like no one wanted to talk to her like she was the plague. It was crazy, but the fact that she still got up, resilient, like she kept mentioning in her speech. She got up. She knew these bitches didn't like her. She knew they didn't want to talk to her, but she played the game as a player. You know how many people in that position would have broke down? Brittany. No shade. So I think there's so many people just in general who would not have been able to play that game on that level. You know, she was going and making strategic relationships with people. You know, she sold herself to the girl. She was like, hey, I'm working with you. I want to make sure that we're all good. Like I'm a soldier for you guys. Like you can use me. And then at the same time, she's telling them, hey, I'm going to take out Monty while building connection with Monty, working on her relationship with him. Like, literally saying, I'm not going to win HOH take this man out. Like, I'm going to tell y'all I am. But, like, she was doing other things to make sure she was set up well. Another great connection she made was with Michael and Brittany. I mean, Michael even admitted in the jury that a lot of his moves were benefiting Taylor. Even Joseph said the same thing. A lot of the things he was doing was to benefit Taylor. The whole Leftover Alliance, whether it was performative or not, was created on the basis of protecting Taylor. So I just feel like that alone shows her social prowess. Like the fact that she came from the most hated to the most protected to the most, I feel like, you know, desired person in the house. And these are work that she has put in socially throughout the entire game. I feel like, you know, a big, like one of the biggest, like kind of blunder part for her, I feel like was, her HOH week, because that did spark up the race war thing. However, you cannot blame her. Like she was black. Literally, if she was white, she would not have been considered a threat on that level of she needs to get out because she's with the other people of color. You know what I mean? She was always very well protected and well set up. Even in the final 5, literally, she was able to create a final 2 with Monty that sufficed into her getting taken to the final 2. When literally this man has discussed how she does not need to be in the final because of her story and things like that. So I just feel like it's really hard to ignore the work that she's put in. I feel like misogyny and a lot of things will make you feel like, oh, Monty is the person who deserves to win because he has the comp wins here and he did his. And you look at Taylor's game, she only has 2 HOHs, she has 6 nominations. Well, there's not only one way to play this game, and Taylor is proving that. Like, this is a new era, this is a new season. Like, the comps were more equitable for a reason. Like, Michael won 9 competitions. If you're not Michael, I don't give a fuck what you did in the competition category, because literally Monty won all his competitions when Michael was out of the game. So how is that even impressive? Let's be serious. So I just feel like, she did her damn thing. She got up there and she literally gave the best speech in Big Brother history. And Monty's walking around acting like that was the thing that really changed their mind. They decided after jury roundtable that they were voting for Taylor. They knew going into the finale, who do you guys think is coming in third? Well, we know it's not Taylor because she has been able to talk her way into and out of some situations before. And that is because of her resilience. She just kept fighting, and she is just, like you mentioned earlier, like, she saw herself as the winner. She presented herself as this confident, beautiful woman. And now look at her, the winner, period. I feel like she really is just, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's the Cinderella story, the underdog story. It's just like, this season is her bitch. So it's an 8 for me.
I know that's right. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I'm like trying to genuinely think of Taylor's rating in like the most kind of trying to be objective way possible, because she's a winner. And I have my list of every player in Big Brother history rated and all of that other shit. So it's very interesting when it comes to the winner, because once you win the game, your rating completely like rearranges in my mind. Like, had Taylor not won, her rating would have been something else. But since she won the game, it's totally rearranged. I do feel like there's only been 2 other winners who've won in a similar position to Taylor, and it wasn't even as bad as Taylor, and that's Dr. Will and Dan. And they're regarded as 2 of the best players ever to play this game. I feel like what's different between their positions and Taylor's is that they were in bad positions based on technically things that they did. No, Will, very much so things he did. He literally bullied half the house. Dan, still technically something he did by deciding to be aligned with the literal house pariah. So it's like Taylor just came in, breathed, and she was in the position she was in. And I feel like that alone kind of puts her win even above theirs. So in my opinion, she has one of the strongest stories to win the game just because of that. I do feel like what Taylor's game is lacking is the strategic part. However, this is a social experiment. Y'all know me. I've been saying damn near every episode this season, social game is very, very important, and it gets looked down upon. And I feel like it gets looked down upon because most women play the social game, but things that are uplifted are the physical game, which a lot of men play, and the strategic game, which honestly, it goes hand in hand with strategic, but a lot of men do dominate strategically because they end up in better positions, or they end up in positions of power or leadership because of society. And I feel like those things are honestly misogynistic. So I feel like the social game needs to be more valued in this social experiment that is Big Brother. And I feel like
social strategy.
It's literally social strategy. It's literally a social experiment. That's literally what they call it. That's what they market it as. And I feel like Taylor really dominated when it came to the social experiment, because imagine getting thrown into this social experiment where you're automatically hated and you have to fight your way out. That's exactly what she did. That's kind of the whole goal of this game. That's the basis of the game. And she played the basis of this game better than literally anyone has ever played it. Like, no one has gotten out of that position as well and as effectively as Taylor. And she went all the way to the end and she won the game. I feel like she has very good qualities. Like Lee said, her connections with people were very, very good. It's weird because they hated her, but her social game was the best one this season. Amira hated her, but she just liked her just enough to not want to get her out. Same with initially Nicole and Daniel liked her. What's her name? Jasmine started to have some kind of connection to her. When they started getting evicted, the people in the jury always was like, I want to vote Taylor to win. Almost immediately, because of the way that Taylor was socially with them. Indy said that. Jasmine said that. Of course, Joseph wanted to vote her. I'll vote her. Terrence, who was tearing her down from day one till his eviction speech, he wanted to drag her, ended up wanting to vote her as he left the game. And that's because of her social ability. She never did anything negative socially. Also, something that I feel like is true is that Taylor didn't make a lot of mistakes. A lot of these winners, especially like the more well-regarded ones, are ones that didn't make a lot of mistakes. I feel like people don't see that in Taylor's game because of her position. But in reality, her position wasn't because of a mistake she made. Taylor may have made one mistake, and that's winning HOH and treating it like, honestly, I don't consider that a mistake, because what point was a mistake?
I mean, that week she didn't put up Jasmine's, I think, which helped solidify her vote. She got out Indy and still had her vote. And even Alyssa was pretty happy with her because she didn't nominate her. Like that really, and that was the angle she played in her final speech, like kind of working for the women. I kept you guys safe. She was able to play that angle because, when she had the power, she did keep most of them safe. And once she got out, she still got her vote. So eat it up. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I was wavering between a 7.5 and an 8. I think I'm gonna go with the 8 just because, like I said, there was not a lot of mistakes that she made. This game isn't only about strategy, and even when it comes to strategy, you can hear the way Taylor speaks, and especially her exit press, and even in her final speech, that the entire time she was consistently, strategically thinking about the decision she was making. Like she knew what she was doing. She knew Michael was gonna be a shield for her, which honestly I didn't even consider Michael being her shield. I always assumed Michael was Brittany's shield, but the way Taylor put it, she's like, Michael was going to go home before me in a lot of scenarios if I stayed close to him. And that was intentional. And I love that she was thinking that way because it just shows that she was being strategic. Y'all may have not seen her implement strategy or create an idea, but strategy isn't always about creating an idea and then acting on it. It could just be something that you're deciding in your head. The people she decided to align with was intentional. Even back in the beginning, when she was deciding to work with the boy or hang out with the men, she said in her diary room, she's like, I'm hanging out with the men because at this point the men have control because Daniel's HOH. So I'm intentionally doing this. And mind you, she had one of the best connections with them. Week 1. So it's like everything she did was intentional. So I just have to give her an 8. I really do. And that's not even, I'm literally trying actively not to be biased. Girl, she just ate it up. I don't know what to tell y'all.
People gonna call it biased for that regardless. I really don't give a fuck. She's mother. Like
that's true. And honestly, it's not like we're giving her a 10 or even a 9. That's the thing. I've rated people 9s. I rated Tiffany a 9 last season. I do feel like an 8 is not even as crazy as we can go. It's pretty a little bit modest. So there's that on that.
But like, I just don't understand how like how you could just be so critical. Like, I mean, like someone like Evil Dick is on Twitter talking about it's another Jordan win, and it's like, Evil Dick, what did you really do to sit up there and win? Like if we're being honest, like American Player helped you out a lot, babe. Your daughter winning a few vetoes helped you out a lot, babe. So like you're just the biggest comp beast and the biggest plan implementer. Like, calm the fuck down.
The fuck? Oh, purr.
No, as we see, that's hilarious.
Amir is one of the best. Honestly, when I said a handful, the 4 that I was referring to were the 4 at the top. When I consider like a handful of people who I would consider a good player, it would be Amir, Michael, Monty, and Taylor. Honestly, Joseph and Paloma are in their own category, and I feel like everybody else. I mean, hey, I don't know what to tell y'all. I think this is a very accurate depiction, especially when I look at the right and who's at the bottom. So hey. There you go. Taylor is mother. She's queen. She won the game.
And so I was looking. I was like, oh my god, why Paloma's so hot? But it's like they all hot to a certain extent. They all terrible. After Taylor, it's like who?
Yeah, like they're getting vibes. Boo. I don't know what to tell you. Girl, Lee wanted me to tell y'all this.
I just want to say y'all that I beat Lee. I beat Lee. Yeah. I beat Sarah. I'm tired, y'all. I beat Sarah with Taylor. I won. Fun fact, I beat him with 2 black women this year. I beat him with Marianne.
And I love it.
And I beat him with Taylor. And we love to see it.
And that's what I get for not believing in black women. Like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
That's what you get.
I don't know what I was thinking. I remember when you picked Taylor, I was like, if you beat me with Taylor, I don't give a fuck. And
I beat you with Taylor.
I don't give a fuck.
I beat you with Taylor. And now the ranking, the score is 16-10. Yeah, so
here you go.
If you're Team Pharaoh, I mean, tell them to do better because it's not.
I will. Survivor.
Are you winning Survivor? I mean,
I will be.
I have the black woman on my tribe, so by prior record,
you have the Trump supporter on your tribe.
The black woman, though, and if she wins, I'm be up.
So y'all, that's that on that. We do have a couple of more videos trickling in for BB24. We still have to drag that coon, and we have to drag that stinky man. So,
and we also have to praise Taylor a little bit more.
And we have to praise Taylor a little more. She has to get her own solo
video. Yeah. I hope no one saw that rating and thought Monty was still not getting dragged. Oh, Monty is still getting dragged.
Monty is still getting dragged. Very, 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 very much so. So stay tuned for that. We're still giving you.
It's gonna even be better because Mother won. Like, oh yes,
it's gonna be nasty. Check us out tomorrow. We will be live streaming Survivor or whatever. Will this be posted? Hopefully this will be posted, but we'll see, y'all.
I mean, if you do your job, you ain't got
maybe later tonight because I'm probably gonna post it in the morning tomorrow. Whatever. We're live streaming Survivor every week. On Wednesday, we're also covering The Amazing Race. Every Thursday, we will be doing our recap video or whatever. So check that out. And when the challenge comes on, check that out. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and tell your friends and tell your mom. Bye.
Mwah.